Hey guys, so some of you already requested a Wondershare Filmora beginner tutorial or a guide, so that's what I'm gonna do today. It's not gonna be anything special. I'm basically just gonna explain to you how this program kind of works. I wouldn't consider myself an expert, so I'm sorry if I'm gonna forget anything or if it's gonna be a little messy, but I'm gonna try my best. So yeah, we're gonna start off right here on the entrance screen. When you're opening the program, you're gonna see this screen. And usually I'm just gonna click on new project. Right up here you can choose which format you wanna have. I'm usually using this one because this is the standard one that, yeah, most of the videos on YouTube, for example, are, so I'm always gonna use this. So we're gonna click on new project and then you're gonna see this. So first of all, I'm just gonna show you what you can do up here. So there you can also open a new project or open a project you already started editing. Then you can import media and stuff, but I'm gonna get to this later on. And then you can also save your project. Obviously, then you have your project settings. There you can also choose your format again and the resolution and the frame rate. I usually keep this one because I don't know, when you're putting in GIFs, it sometimes asks you which frame rate you want to use, but most GIFs have a really low frame rate, so I don't know, this is my standard one. You can change this if you want to, but yeah. Then the preferences, there are a lot of settings you can choose. For example, the area where you want your backups to be saved and stuff. This helped me a lot when my program just froze and I didn't save. Then I don't know, opened the backup and stuff. I didn't check all of this yet, but there you can find all of those more detailed settings. If you have any problems, you can just look here. I'm also sometimes doing that. Also dark mode or light mode. I never used light mode. I also don't want to see what it looks like if I would use it. So yeah, all of that. Yeah, shortcuts. You can also choose your shortcuts here. I don't really have any. I mean, the shortcuts that I'm using were already saved in here. So yeah. Editing. I don't know. I'm not using all of this up here a lot. You can all do that with right click as well, I guess. So then we're gonna start with this window right here. So you have a lot of different tabs open there. Basically, I didn't want to click that. Basically, this is the area where you're gonna put all of your clips in, all of your videos that you want to use for your editing. So yeah, there are also shared media. This is basically there you can basically put stuff in that you want to use for every single project. For example, when for a video you always need the same intro. You can put this in here, and you're gonna have this clip in every new project that you're gonna open. And this is basically just for the project that you have open right now. You know what? I'm just gonna use one of those clips right here. So if you wanna use any clip and yeah, you need that for your edit, then you basically just click this and drag it down here. So this is what I meant. I'm just gonna keep this because yeah, this is just a general setting that my project has. If I would use this setting for every single clip that I have, then It, for example, would change the aspect ratio of the video, so how big the video is going to be, and this is annoying. So we're going to cut all of the clips anyway. That's what I'm always doing. So all of these black borders on these sides are not there anymore. So I'm just going to use the project setting that I chose. So yeah, now you have your clip in there, and it's pretty hard to work with this right here when it's this small. So you can just left click here and drag, and then your clip is going to get bigger. The duration of the clip is not going to change from that. It's just the size of it, like, so you can work better with it. You see there the seconds and stuff also expand and stuff, but it's still the same duration. You can change the duration other ways. I'm going to show you this as well, maybe, or I'm going to make a second part, I don't know yet. So yeah, then when you want to go to a specific part in your clip, you can just always click on this little, you know, this little thingy up here, left click, and you can jump to any area in your clip that you want to be right now. If you right click and drag, you can basically just roll through your video. If I put another clip in and expand this, then you can't really reach the back of the clip right here. So this way you can just scroll through your video. I always use this. I just recently discovered that you just can right click on any black space that is there and just scroll through that. So yeah. And the next basic thing that you have to know is how you're gonna cut your clip. So you see there's this little symbol right here, but I'm usually just using Control and B, and this is how you're gonna cut your clip. You can also, by the way, just hold this and like left click and scroll through here. You don't always have to like click everywhere. You just can just scroll, and yeah. So obviously you can also click on here and then it's gonna cut, but always make sure that you click on the specific layer that you're on right now. Because if I, for example, put another clip in and I'm not focused on any layer, then when you cut, you're gonna basically cut all of your clips, and sometimes you don't want that. So make sure that you select the layer that you want to cut, or you just select the clip that you want to cut, and then you cut. So only the clip that you want to edit is gonna be cut. So the next thing is how you're gonna undo a action that was a mistake or that you just want to undo, obviously. Yeah, just like in any other project, you're just gonna press Control and Z, and then you are gonna undo the action. Or you just click this little arrow, and yeah. Also, like in any other program, removing something, you should have a key on your keyboard. My keyboard is German, so I don't really know how it's called in English, but you're just gonna press that, and then it's gonna remove this clip that you selected. Also, if you want to copy one, you can either just right click and then cut or copy, or you just again click Control and C. If you want to copy this clip on another layer, obviously, if you don't have another layer on here, you see there are symbols on here. This is an audio layer and there's nothing. So you're gonna click on this right here, open the track manager, and then you can choose if you want to create another video track or another audio track. Then you're gonna select the like the amount of tracks you want to add, and then you can select where. I'm just gonna say above track 1, then it's gonna appear right here, right? And then you will just click this and press Control and V, and then you have it copied onto the new layer. So yeah, you're probably asking what this red line is right here. So every time you're doing something new, like you're editing something, you have to render it, because if you wouldn't render it, basically your clip would be pretty laggy. In the finished video it wouldn't look like that, so you always have to render it so you know what the video is actually looking like right now. If you're waiting some time, it's gonna render on its own, but sometimes it's so much stuff that it's gonna take a while if you would just let it render on its own. So whenever you're doing something and you see this red line, you just have to press on here, on this little symbol, and then it's gonna render for you. And then the playback is gonna run smoothly again. Obviously this is pretty laggy right now, but if right, this is another thing I forgot. This is the most important thing. If you want to playback your video, you can just like pull this line to the front, and then you're gonna press the space bar, and then it's gonna run through your video. If you want to stop again, you can just press the space bar again. All of these things are just easier than pressing up here. Like there are buttons and stuff for everything, and also up here, you know, undo and stuff. Usually there should also be the shortcut right here. So if you don't know what anything is anymore, you can also look up the shortcuts and stuff right here. Even here it shows you Control and V for cutting, but it's just way faster than just clicking everywhere if you're just doing it with your keyboard. Also, if your PC isn't that good and everything's just lagging and taking a while, then you can change the quality of your playback right here. This will just change the quality of the video in your program. So if you're gonna export the video at the end, it's gonna have the original quality of the clip. So it's just that your program can like take the editing process way better if your PC or laptop or something isn't that good. I'm just usually using the full quality because my PC can handle it, but if yours can't handle it, you can change the quality of the video in your program right here. And like I said, when you're exporting your video, the quality won't be like you're seeing it in the program. It's just that your program can take it better. Right, the next thing that I find pretty important is this little symbol right here. So this is like a little marker that you can set when, for example, you have a lot of material in here already and you would forget, for example, when you're editing Let's Plays or something, and you would forget where an important part is that you want to like remember, then you can just put down a marker, and this is gonna set, yeah, like I said, a marker right here, so you can always remember where this part is that was important. For example, right here, you know that right around this area the outro will start or something like that, or you will have to cut something right there, or I don't know, you get me. Also, when you're selecting a clip, you can also click on here and it's gonna set the marker right on this clip. So if you just want to remember something in this specific clip, you can do it like that. And also you can click on this and just click the key on your keyboard that will remove it, or you can right click on it and delete it. So if you don't know a shortcut for something, there's usually always a option for you if you right click on the specific area, and then you have a lot of these options right here as well. Right, now I'm gonna go into audio a little bit. So when you click on there you have all of your material, then you click on audio, and if you scroll right to the very bottom, there will be your music that you have imported. So if you double click, this is also the same for the media, you can just double click, and then you will jump right into your files, and you can choose all of the files that you want to use. This is the same with the audio. I already have some non-copyright audios in here, so I'm just going to use any of those. Right, so as earlier, you're just going to drag this right onto your audio layer. I'm just gonna change the volume a little bit. Therefore, you have this little line right here. If you drag this, left click, then you can drag it up and down. This is the way you can change the volume of your audio. Also, you can just double click on it and you will have all of these options right here. This will change the pitch, so it's sounding a little more deep or higher. Also, the fade in and fade out. Actually, is also another way you can do it. I'm usually just using this little thingy you can see right there in the corner. You just have to drag this, and then you can let the audio fade in or fade out at the end. It's basically the same. There you can remove some background noise, or yeah, something like this. Right, so here you have some effects you can lay over your audio. I often use this one, as you already noticed, I guess, in some of my edits. In the intro, I'm using this. This is letting your audio sound a little more muffled, like a little more deep, and like it's coming from another room or something. I really like this. And dance or sparkle lets it just sound a little more bright, or I don't know, sharp. I don't know how to call it. So if you want to do this, what I usually do is choose the area where I want to cut, where the cut should be. Then I'm clicking on the audio, and I basically just cut, and then I select the part that I want to edit, and then I, for example, use this one, and yeah, I hope you can still hear me now. Then this should sound like this. Like, it's basically, wait, I'm just gonna do it right here, so you can see a little more change than when it's just a few seconds. Yeah, so this sounds more clear, and this sounds a little more muffled. You will probably hear this way better in like a song that's a little more busy and stuff. But that's basically what I often do. Right, the next thing will be that you can just cut the clips shorter or longer. It's not changing the duration that's this way, it's just changing how long, how much of the clip you will see. So if I click right here and I pull this, then the last part of the clip is going to be cut. So for example, right here where he's lifting his eyebrow, for example, if I cut this right here, then this part will be gone. You see? So it's not changing the duration of the clip, so it's not making it slower or faster, it's just removing a part of the clip. So that's how you can do it. And if you want to change the duration, you have this button right here. So you select your clip and then you press right here. Then you can like choose slower or faster. For example, you make it slower, and then you have this little bar up here. Just a little tip, when you're using GIFs or GIFs, it's usually not really working with this. I mean, you see how this is like pretty laggy. This is because of the low frame rate of the GIFs. Like, GIFs usually have a very low frame rate. So if you want to make an edit or a video with nice, smooth slow motions, you probably should download a video and cut clips from that and not just download GIFs, because this won't really work. This is just a little tip, which I'm usually doing when I want to make an edit with nice, clean slow motions. I'm usually downloading the performance and then I cut clips from that. Yeah, back to the slow motion thingy. So you can also click up here, so this little circle appears, and you can drag it. If you drag it way more to the left, you'll at some point be in an area where it's gonna speed up the clip. So yeah, this is faster, for example. Speeding GIFs up is not really a problem, but just the slow motion thing is a problem. Yeah, so you just pull this. That's how you can change the yeah, the speed of your clip, not the duration. I always said this wrong, but I guess you know what I mean. Right. So you can also, like on the audio thingy, you can also double click on here and you will have a lot of different things. So here you can change the blending mode. You can change the opacity right here. Obviously this is just getting darker because the background is black, obviously. You can also just, drag this up and down on your tracks that you have. If I remove the opacity right here, then obviously you can see the other clip underneath. Also, I can darken it or multiply, all of these things. Yeah. The next thing will be that you can change your scale. You can also just do it right here. But if you want all of the clips, for example, to be the same scale, and everything to be nice and clean, you have to be careful that this is selected. So like all of the coordinates will be similar, like the same, because if you do this and you're doing this, then obviously this is not looking good. Like this is probably handy for some effects or something. I didn't try it yet, but you don't want this. So you would just click this, and then if you, for example, click on 50, all of the image will be the same size, like all of the sides will be the same. Also, you can rotate it and stuff. Right. Motion tracking is only working when you didn't change the, size of your image. Like if you didn't zoom in or something. I'm going to show you this in a second. Also, we have like some of these things I'm not even using. I'm just going to show you what I know. Right, you can drop a shadow if you have any symbols or anything above this image and you want it to have a shadow so it's sticking out more. You can do this right here. And yeah, this is it actually. There are also masks. I didn't use this a lot yet, so I can't really show you this right now. Maybe I'm gonna go deeper and more into it in another part. I'm just gonna show you all of the overall things right now. Yeah, right here you can also just change the contrast of the picture and stuff, but I'm gonna show you how to do all of the color correction things in a second. Then animation is pretty important. So what is pretty simple and what I'm using a lot, if you want to let a video fade in or fade out, just basically just fading into a black background. You can obviously use an transition. I always use this at the very beginning, but this is too harsh for me because it's literally fading into 0%. So what I'm often using is just selecting my clip, then I'm gonna add a keyframe right here. You can see this. You can even remove this, like move this to the left or the right. And this is the keyframe where it's gonna be at 100%. So after this keyframe, it's gonna stay 100%. So we're gonna click right in front of the keyframe. Somewhere we can move this in a second, and you're gonna, for example, type 20. Then you're gonna have another keyframe right here, and I'm just gonna pull this to the very beginning. So this maybe looks like the image is still pretty visible, but when you're letting an image fade into another one, this, in my opinion, looks better than the very harsh transition you can just put in there. Like you can just choose from all of those effects and transitions right here. So I'm often just doing this, and as you can see, obviously this is, you can also drag this and the transition is gonna be longer or shorter. And yeah, this is basically doing exactly this. So if you want to remove one, just make sure to remove the keyframe that has the lower percentage of opacity, because if you remove this, all of the video is gonna stay 20% obviously, because the keyframe where you set the opacity is at the very beginning, and after this keyframe it's just gonna stay 20%. So make sure to remove the first keyframe and then the second one. I made this mistake many times. And yeah, now I'm just gonna show you real quick how you're gonna cut the image. So the black border is gone, for example. I'm just gonna use this as an example. You basically, since an update like some time ago already, it's pretty difficult to find it. Like, it's not difficult to find it, but you have to go on here and then click on here. So I'm usually just using Alt and C to get into this mode, and then this is gonna open. So as you can see, the aspect ratio of our project is 60 by 9, and this is not 60 by 9. So we're gonna click on here and it's gonna cut the image. So you're just gonna cut it like that, and then the black borders will be gone. This is how I'm always doing it. You can obviously also zoom. So you can just do this, and then that's fine for me, and then this is zooming in. You can also do it the other way around. Therefore you have this little symbol right here, and then it's gonna zoom outwards, you know? This is the square where it's starting. Then you can click on the other one and edit this one, and this is gonna be the one where the clip is gonna end at. So this is the way it's gonna zoom out. The next important thing that I want to show you is the way you're gonna do the color correction. I usually don't use this shortcut because I just can't remember it. It's basically just Control Shift and C, but yeah, I always forget, so I'm doing it like that. Right, so here you have a lot of different filters already made for you. You can just choose any filter and then press OK. You can also adjust it on your own. So you can, for example, choose a filter or use the standard version of your clip and adjust it right here. You can just play around with this a little. So yeah, you can just adjust the brightness right here or the contrast and stuff. This is pretty, actually. I have to remember this. But what I usually do when I like this specific coloring that I did right there, I'm just gonna save it as custom. Then you can give it a name and stuff, and then you can choose this right here. There's custom, and there you will have all of your custom colorings that you did. I'm usually using any of those and put them on put the specific coloring on all of my clips. So all of the clips kind of have the same filter on them, you know? So I'm doing this. I can just show you the specific coloring on here, for example. It will obviously look a little different, but it will all kind of have the same vibe, you know what I mean? Like, for example, the contrast is pretty subtle right here on this coloring and stuff. So yeah, those were pretty much the basics that I wanted to show you that I think are pretty important. Up here you will have the effects. You can also like an effect, so it's gonna be on your favorites up here. So when you really use an effect, a lot of times you can just click on the little heart up there and it's gonna be in your favorites. So you don't have to search through all of the effects again. So yeah, there's not much to say to this. Basically, there's a lot of filters and effects you can use and just put on your videos. You also can customize many of them. So if you want to use any of those, you can either just drag them here and use them as another layer. So it's, for example, on all of those clips, or you can just drag it onto one of those clips and then you can double click on it, video and effects, and then you basically should see, yeah, which effect is on your video. And some of the effects are customizable, some are not. For example, for example, this human border right here. You put this on your clip, then obviously with some effects it will have to render, so you click on here, then it's rendering, and then you can just let it play back smoothly. And with some of them you can change the color. For example, you see, oh my god, it's actually looks pretty cool. I didn't know. So yeah, some of them are customizable. You will just have to see. For example, all of those shake effects, they most of the time will have an option where you can change the frequency, like how hard it's shaking and stuff like that. Then you're just gonna press OK, and yeah, even remove them or just not show them, so you can see, for example, how it would look without this effect, without completely removing it. But if you don't want it anymore, you can just remove it right here. Yeah, so this is the stuff that actually is pretty important. Overlays are basically also just filters. I'm just saying filter and overlay, it's basically the same for me. Right here you have elements. Those are pretty much any symbols or just small things you can put over your video. Any light rays or text bubbles, sparkles, anything like that. And the transitions are also pretty easy to explain. So you will have a lot of transitions and you just pull them right here and pull them on the part where both of your clips were cut. Then you let go and then you can click on the transition and make it bigger or smaller so the transition is faster or slower. Then you just render it and then you have your transition right here. Yeah, this is also pretty easy. So Filmora is a pretty easy beginner program, I think, because you can basically just choose any effects or filters or transitions and just put them on there. Obviously, you have many options through those keyframing, but yeah, this is the way you can make your first videos. Like, it's pretty easy. You can just put everything on here and just experiment and stuff. Titles, texts are pretty easy as well. You just put them in again. You can't put text on the clips right here. This is just for effects and obviously transitions. Like effects you can put on each clip. This is also new since a few updates are ready. Yeah, this is pretty cool, but this doesn't work for text. Yeah, if you want to shorten your text, you basically just cut it again and remove the part you don't need. And then you have your text right here. If you double click, you will get this little window, but I usually go on advanced, and then you can, yeah, then you have more options. So I just removed this right now because I want to make my own text. So you just click on your text, or you edit the text that was already there. This way you can just change the size of it and then just drag it to the middle. You even have those little helping lines for you to know where you are, where the middle is. This is pretty cool. Up here you can just put in your text up here. Yeah, then you can change the color, even the way it's gonna look, like gradient, for example, from purple to red. The opacity of the text, if it's gonna be blurry, all of these things, you know. You can even have shadow. It's pretty cool. And up here you will have all of the different fonts. This is pretty cool to just scroll through that and just look at all the fonts. I really love doing that. And what I always also love doing, for example, if you have this text, this doesn't look that good, I think. So usually I'm doing this. You can just click on here and drag it to the left or the right, and then it's gonna, the space between the words is gonna get bigger or smaller. This is pretty cool. So you can do it like that, and this will change the space between the letters. So just drag it to the left or the right, and it's gonna change the space between the letters. Right here you will have the animations, how your text is gonna appear. For example, we're gonna use this one. This is pretty basic, and then you will get those two little bars right here. This will be how fast the transition of your text will be. So if you're gonna press this and drag it, it's gonna be way longer, you know? And it's gonna take way longer until your text is fully written out. And then you can, for example, remove this, and your text will just stay there until the next clip is gonna start, or until your text layer is over. Yeah, you obviously can also make the text shorter and stuff like that. Yeah, this is pretty much it, I think. You can also import pictures or add shapes and stuff. You can make pretty cool things with that. And if you have the motivation to experiment with that, this can be pretty fun. But I usually don't. So yeah, basically there you also have the little eye that you can click. This just means that the layer isn't shown right now. Like, it's not gone, but you just can't see it right now. Also, you can click this lock. Then when you're doing something, you're not accidentally editing this area. For example, if you didn't choose an layer that you're gonna cut and you cut, for example, then it can't accidentally happen that you cut this layer, because this is locked. You can't touch this, you can't do anything with this. And if you unlock it, you can remove it. You can move it again and edit it and stuff. As you saw earlier, this is where you can change the volume of your program right now. This is not going to change the volume of your audio. This is just going to change how you're hearing the audio right now, so it's not going to blow your ears off. Yeah, if you're done with your video, make sure that you bought the full version of Filmora, not just the test version, because if you just have the test version, you can't export your video without a giant watermark over the center of your screen. So yeah, if you're done with your video and you saved it, you can just export it and change the name of your video and the area where it's going to be saved. And yeah, you can even upload it to YouTube right away or something, but I'm not doing this. Usually I'm just gonna export it and then it's gonna load for a while and give you a little sound when it's done, so you know you can come back to it. So yeah, this is it. I think this will be it for the beginner tutorial. I hoped I could help you a little bit. I probably forgot a lot of things, but those were basically the basics, in my opinion, that are pretty important so you can make your first edits at least. Because sometimes when no one is gonna explain the program to you, you're sitting there and are like, okay, how do I even start? So those were, I guess, the basics. How you're gonna import your clips and how you can cut them and zoom in and remove the black borders, which is pretty important. So yeah, I hope you liked it and you tell me what you think about it and if it helped you in any way. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I guess I'm gonna see you in another edit or another Filmora tutorial part. Bye bye.